Respective viewers, Miss Charlene Wilkinson. Tonight we bring you to our discussion panel, whereas this group of 5 members would be discussing our individual interviews in which we would have done in various areas of our country. We'll be discussing and analyzing the audios of the Creoles recorded, and we are now going to be playing our audios by which is being shared by Miss Faith. We'll begin with Miss Nicolette and Miss Faith audio. Go.
Good, good evening. So myself and Miss Douglas was tasked on behalf of our group to do a research in our local region, which is Region 3, to discuss our Creolese native language. We approached a vendor in her late 30s, and we had a discussion with her, asking her a few questions on our origin of Creolese, also a few background information in order to understand her concept about the whole research. We told her what our research was about, and she was willingly to participate in order to give information so that we can able to be successful in our assignment. I will now hand you over to Ms. Douglas, who will even further give you some recordings that was done in order to facilitate our research.
Okay, so before I go into the recording, what mostly we asked the vendor, the lady, we mostly asked her about her upbringing in how it is in the market life. If she liked it, how is it, how are the buyers, if she has any problems, any conflicts, and she was sharing us how things are, like how long she's been living there and working there, I'm sorry, and so on. So it was a really good conversation. So I'm about to play.
All right. Alright, so the first question, how long you are a vendor here?
Almost 15 years.
15 years. Okay. What is like being a vendor out here?
Wow. Exciting for me because there's never a dull day. Pertaining to sales, yeah, you can get all day, but other than that, you laugh, you see the teeth, you enjoy, yes, you get entertainment every day.
So you get to on a daily basis see different people and interact and so on.
Okay, that's a piece of our recording. So yes, you're telling us about how things are in the market life, what happens, and so on. Now I'll hand you over to the next person. Who's going to go next? Miss Amira? Are you going to go next or Miss Anisha? Anybody?
Miss Melissa can go next.
Take the floor, miss.
Yeah. Okay, so my recordings, I interviewed a middle-aged person from my community in Region 9 here in Peru. So I approached the person. I told the person that I would ask her a few questions about the Canaima, right? So I didn't really tell her what it is about, but I started my recordings, so you can listen to the recordings now.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll be asking you a few questions. So firstly, do you know what is a Canaima?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your views or belief on the Canaima?
Well, in my village of Yaramparu, our belief is that a Kanaimu is an evil spirit that visits your home anytime. So sometimes it may come in the form of an animal, a bird, or a human being, but you would not recognize that person.
Okay, so Do you think all Guyanese people know about the Kanaimo belief?
In my opinion, I think that all Guyanese do not know about the Kanaimu belief. Certain persons know about it from reading and maybe researching on the internet, but not all Guyanese.
Okay. Do you think it is important to educate the younger generation or visitors that come into your village about the Kanaimo?
Yes, it is important to educate them because today our young generation culture is dying, and I think it is important.
Okay, thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Miss Melissa.
All
So,
right. So what do you guys notice there about the recording? You guys notice that the accent it varies, right? I think
Yes,
when
I noticed that for real, for real. I did.
yes.
That is
So,
true.
so you see how the it based on a geographical area, like wherever you from or so on, it will differ. So I was listening and I noticed that, it's different. So that's very interesting.
you know, for me, I want to believe that the person Miss Melissa interviewed, she didn't really speak much Creoles, but um her words and the way she
Her
pronounced her
accent,
words is
her
more like
accent was,
her
yeah, you hear the
her
accent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to ask Miss this
But
if the person
but
from
then
those
mind
areas
you,
Creoles.
but mind you,
Yes, ma'am.
remember, this is something that I also learned recently that actually wherever you are, it doesn't matter. We are Guyanese and we actually speak Creolese. So as much as it might sound as though the person Miss Melissa interview, it might sound, that, oh yes, it's very it's not Creolese, but it's actually Creolese because we don't really speak I would
I'm
say
just from
fluent English, yeah. Because I really thought that, that we don't some parts don't speak Creolese, but it's actually Creolese, but it's just that, some parts is different.
yeah.
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 So, like in my community, you would hear like most persons speaking like that way. So
Yeah.
when I heard the recording from Miss the first recording, like it was different. So
Mhm.
we don't really usually hear like that kind of accent
Because
in our
yeah,
community.
because like for example, in my community where I live, right, we will notice like sometimes we would use like the word like and we would say like so like and how you behave so like which is actually it may not sound like the typical Creoles that we are bound to, like for example that the Barbadians or let's just say the persons living in region 5 or 6 may speak, but right there and then that is a form of Creolese, but it's just that our dialect, I mean our accent is different and our slang may be different, so
It's the
so
variation.
Miss Nicolette, do you guys have like any slang and so that you guys speak in there where you live? Like what are some slangs that you guys would use?
It varies. It depends on the person you interact with, right?
Oh, I call
Because
wrong name. I think it's the other it's Miss Melissa.
yes,
Sorry,
because
Miss.
we are
Yes.
we are looking at region 3, so it varies.
Yeah, so Miss Melissa, what about the slangs that you guys speak there? Like, do you have like some examples?
Don't really see about it. I've never really heard about like those things.
Okay, okay, Miss.
Mm.
All right, so I guess we should go on to the next person, Miss Aniso.
Yeah. All right. So my interview was done with my granny, my grandmother, my mother's mother. And she actually grew up on the highway, the Suicide Linear Highway, and on the highway itself has different settlements. And in each settlement, you would find a variation of dialects and accents actually, because in the village, or must I say the settlement or the community in which I interviewed my granny, she actually speaks, they actually speaks different. Their dialect and accent is actually different to the nearby settlement, right? Not like less than a mile away from them. So right on the highway you can find like a variety of dialects and accents of the Creole language. So Miss Faith, you can go ahead and play my a few minutes of mine, or a minute of mine, and let's listen to the way my granny would speak.
What can I do? Like,
So, remember when you used to tell me old time stories about yourself?
when I was
Lang,
small,
you tell me a story about yourself.
well, the brain getting shallow now, but I still can remember when I was growing up. Most of my time I grew up with my father. He was a farmer. He used to farm very hard. On Thursday, he would go up load, carry to Linden, sell, and buy the ration, come back home. But when I was 9 years old, I go and live with my grandmother. And she was a farmer too. So this is how I get more into the farming, more know about the agriculture and the, like, how much say, the life of
Farming.
farming. My grandfather used to hunt.
What kind of meat he used to find? Like, what kind of animal he used to hunt?
Anything, lava, deer. At one time, my grandmother had some dog, very sneaky dog, like when I say, they may look fat to wrong, not pet dog.
They were hunters.
There's hunters. There was a small dog. And I could remember a time we was going to the pine field. No, we was going to dig cassava for make cassava bread. We had to walk. And they used to plant big pine farm and then sneaky pine farm with the gun now. So after when you walk in, it's like an acre, 3 acre pine farm. Then you used to got very used to Montserrat, Barryong. Barryong is a very nice sweet pine, Montserrat.
Are you doing gonna do this?
I don't think we get in Barryong now, you know. They got other species of pine. And the dog them, we just see a fresh wild cow truck cross that Granny said, wow. We then dog them and biting over here and barking straight them. Barking go. That day was a real fun. It was a fun, it was a scary thing, and it was really, really, really a nice experience.
Remember the day
So we,
God?
Miss Faith, you can
so we
pause.
turn back. Granny said we go back and we jump.
Like the story capture you so much.
So I hear Granny saying barking. So I
Yes.
hear barking.
Yes. So from what I always am fascinated with listening.
Miss Alisa, you're probably on mute. We're not hearing you. All right. So you guys hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Miss Alisa, you hearing me?
Maybe
Again,
something with her next.
yeah. All right. So let's continue when she she's gonna come on back just now. So if you notice there, I noticed too that the accent is a bit different too, just as we had mentioned earlier, it varies. It you can hear a few of the words
The
they're
long
coming
and
out.
short vowels. Yeah.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I heard barking, barking, and yeah. All
All
right.
right. Moving on. Let's move on to Miss Samira now.
Yeah. So I think my own is the last, right?
Yes.
All right. You can skip the introduction, Miss, and you can go. Yeah, just move it a little.
All right, good morning.
Yeah, just skip it.
You'll tell me like how far you want me to
All
carry
right,
you.
good.
You're good?
Yeah, you can play from there.
It's about the Kanaima, right? So, do you believe in the Kanaima?
Just yeah, this is a part, yes, it's truth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know any story or do you know any like let's just say for example, back in the days, have you ever experienced anything or you ever heard anything about the Kanaima, any story?
Actually, yes, because let me say like when we do building the house, the first house,
Uh-huh.
the trash house,
Mm-hmm.
I did pregnant with my big daughter. That's in 85, 1985.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband used to teach,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the afternoon he would go and cut leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So being with the pregnant, he used to tell me like sit on the leaf till he go in and bring out them.
Uh-huh.
So he throw in on all them 2, 3 and to get out the leaves. So he just tell me, he said, you let me go up a little more so. By the time he said that, it's like 3 person like if they jump and start run.
Wow, so you experienced that?
That is definitely the truth.
Oh, all right. So what about now? Do you think that the Kanaima is like persons, the younger generation, do you think they believe in it, or back in the days that was a thing and now it's like what do you think now in this new time and new generation?
Well, remember the modern now, you know, more electricity, more like things on like mostly like people don't really believe in this thing
They
anymore.
don't believe in it anymore. Yes.
And eventually like it start to be more few.
Okay. So I guess that's because the place get open up and it get
Lights
populated
and
with
everything, right?
Oh,
No,
all
I'm paying
right.
a light.
Yeah, I know that.
And if they want to blow your lamp, they blow it.
All right, Auntie Mother, thank you so much, right?
Another change of accent you hear? Another one.
Yeah. Because I noticed when she was speaking to and she was referring to like the past tense, she was saying like when I de pregnant, you know, she's saying D when I de pregnant.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she was using like and like and so on. So you see it differs. So overall, what you guys think so far? Like what do you think is a takeaway here from well, since I listened to everyone, you know, recording, I realized that every person that speak the accent was different. So
And
that's very
everybody spoke Creoles too.
yes,
Everybody spoke
yes,
Creoles, but
everyone speak.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just that the way they were speaking, it was just different, or the accent was just different. Other than that, everybody spoke Creoles. Everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's very
It it
interesting.
it
You know,
also
I always had this belief that, you know, it's only like a particular part in Guyana or a particular set of ethnic groups speak Creoles. You know, I always used to think that, you know, but you know,
Me too, I had the
yeah,
same.
now that understanding is different for me because I always think like, oh, then people living in Barbie speaking Creoles and then people live in Mahaica, but you know, as everybody, once you're a Guyanese, you speak Creoles. Once you're a born Guyanese and you live here, you know. So that's very interesting. I've learned a lot from listening to these recording.
also, Miss, if I can add, is it clearly show that the Creolese language is not so much diminished that we would like to say. It's still there, but it's not so much of a big
Origin.
or
It's not in its original form, or
yes, it's still there though.
Yes, correct.
but it's there, but not, like in its original form.
And I strongly believe it will live on, because if the elderly people are the ones speaking Creoles from long ago and they're passing it on to their younger ones and so on,
Yeah.
as they speak to the people that they grew up with and so on, they're gonna adapt to the Creolies and the Creolies will keep going on. So
And
I don't
and
think
you know what I started to do as well. I used to do it because sometimes when I'm with my kids and I teach and so I like to crack jokes. I like to make them feel, loosen up. I will come down to their level, like, try to speak like them and so on. But I never actually know that, language actually plays a big part in learning. Like it breaks that barrier, like whereby that the students may feel like, oh, um the teacher is, the teacher and we must speak this type of way and what's not and so on. And I used to like correct these children, and I've realized that
it's correct too. It's
yeah,
correct too.
I started recently to speak more Creoles in the classroom. Like I will tell them when I go, it's what happened to you, man. Like I ain't sleep good last night. And they would break out in laugh. They would laugh and I would
And when
see
you're
like,
teaching too, when you're teaching and so on, and you try to put up a
yeah,
concept, you speak Creoles and they would
mm,
understand. You can't want to
yes.
speak fancy big terms and they gonna understand. You gotta speak Creoles.
Yeah. Like a child came to me one time and said, Miss Mwanga, use the Kylie Mwanga piss. So I right there and then I sent back the child and I said, please go back and come back and speak to me correctly and taking back now and and being a part of this course and I'm learning so much. I realized that, you know, that was not it. So now I'm trying to be more, I'm vigilant with the way I speak and the way the children speak. And I realize when we, we open up and we allow them to be themselves, it actually helps. So, so that's a great takeaway for me.
Yeah. I actually eased up correcting my children with Creoles after I started Creoles class. A child came to me one time was like, Mister, I broke my pencil. I said that's not a word. It's how she would say it, that's not how you say it. That was this way before Creoles classes came into thing. But after now I just stopped. That's the way they speak and that's the way I understand what she's trying to say. So I really stopped cutting them down and when they speaking and telling me certain things. And I use a lot of Creoles when I'm teaching. In my class, I gotta use Creoles because the background that my children came from. I got to speak Creoles and so on for them to understand, at least get the concept. I can't want to speak fancy for them because they're not gonna get it.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so it was a lovely discussion. So, what do you guys think? Do you have anything more to say, or should we end our round
Miss,
table discussion here?
we have about 4 minutes left because I am not paying for Zoom.
Okay, all right. So,
So whatever, whichever before we can end now, or we can if anybody else wants to add anything, we still have a little time.
Miss
I will
Miss Anissa, or somebody want to do a final remark? You can go ahead.
I'll give the opportunity to Miss Malicia or Miss Nicolette. Miss Malicia?
I'll go right ahead. Yes, so our group takeaway was that there are different dialects depending on the geographical areas in Guyana,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are still learning the Guyanese Creoles in our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss.
Thank you, Miss Malicia. Thank you guys for sacrificing this time. And I do hope we all had a successful takeaway with everything. Miss, you can end now.